Lizards of Sagefield Marsh. A Darlunia short story. By J.L. Rees. Part 2. We'll figure something out, Onyx tried to reassure Callan. They both watched the lizard folk scurry back and forth with buckets of water, trying to put out the flames that were still coming from the tent. The blaze was finally extinguished. The lizard people went back to dancing and chanting around the meteor. After what felt like hours, a lizard person appeared from the big tent, which was still smoking. He walked past the cage, glared at the prisoners and hit the bars with his stick, then hissed menacingly. "I'm guessing that wasn't a friendly welcome to his tribe," Callan said. "It definitely wasn't," said a voice from another cage. In the other cage sat a dwarf. He said, "You both will be skinned for burning his tent down," the dwarf said. "You speak lizard man?" Onyx asked the dwarf. "When you've been here as long as I have, you pick it up." "How long have you been here?" asked Callan. "A long time. I'm not sure how long, to be honest," answered the dwarf. "Is there anything you can tell us about them? What do they want the meteor for?" Callan inquired. "They seem to think it gives the shaman great powers. 3 tribes have already surrendered to him and joined his tribe. Now he's planning to build an army and attack Sagefield." "But why? Why does he want to attack Sagefield?" asked Callan. "They believe since the humans built Sagefield, they have tainted the lands around the town. The lizard people and their traditions have been affected, and their food supply has started to dwindle," explained the dwarf. "That would be why they sometimes attack the travel carts," he continued. It was getting late, so the 3 prisoners decided to get some sleep. When they woke up, there seemed to be more lizard people rushing about as they prepared for war. "We have to escape," Onyx said. "Do you have any other interesting items in your pockets?" asked Callan. "Just some sleep root. I was keeping it in case I couldn't sleep back at the noisy inn at Sagefield." Onyx replied and pulled out something that looked like a parsnip, but it twinkled like it was covered in stars. The cage rattled. Onyx and Callan looked around and saw a wild boar had charged the cage. It snorted furiously and stepped back a couple of steps before it charged and stomped into the cage again. Onyx put the root back into his pocket, and the boar turned away and snuffled around the ground near one of the tents. I wonder?" Onyx thought and pulled the root from his pocket again. Instantly, the boar pounced and twisted in the air. It glared at the root in Onyx's hand. The cage shook violently after the boar charged it again. "What are you doing?" Callan asked. "The lizard people will notice and kill us for sure." "No, they won't. They're too busy preparing for war," Onyx replied. The boar charged a final time and broke a hole in the cage bars big enough for them to escape. The problem was there was a huge, angry boar between them and escape. The boar was ready to charge once more. Onyx threw the root into the crowds of lizard folk. The boar twitched and ran straight into the crowd. In the commotion caused by the lizard warriors falling over the boar, they managed to escape. "What about the dwarf?" Onyx asked. "We'll have to come back for him." Onyx and Callan ran and tumbled into the long grass. "We have to warn Sagefield about the lizard men," Callan said. "I don't think we have time," replied Onyx. They both peered through the grass, and to their dismay, the lizard army was gearing themselves up to march to Sagefield. "There's only one thing to do. They can't march without their leader. We need to abduct the shaman," suggested Onyx. "Let's do it," Callan agreed. Callan and Onyx crept quietly to the shaman's new tent, pushed open the entrance flap, and snuck in. The tent was huge. You could fit 100 people in it easily. Behind an animal skin partition, they could hear hisses. The shaman was talking to someone. Onyx and Callan both looked at each other in confusion. The light from the torches around the tent showed only the shaman's shadow. "Must be giving himself a motivational talk," Onyx said. "Who's there?" the shaman asked. The shaman ripped the partition back. "The humans." He grabbed his staff and threw a shard of ice at Onyx. Onyx dived out of the way just in time. The ice shard exploded against the tent wall and created a huge icy patch. The icy patch spread along the wall to the door flap and sealed the tent shut. "No escape," the shaman hissed. "Yeah, for you," Callan fired back. "Yeah, we didn't even want to escape," puffed, Onyx added. Onyx whipped out his wand. Callan put up his fists. They split up to attack from both sides. The shaman twirled his staff above his head and shot another ice shard, at Callan this time. Callan was also too quick and ducked under it. He could feel the air temperature above his head drop significantly when the ice sailed above him. It gave Onyx the chance to throw a fire bolt at the shaman. The shaman hissed when the small ball of fire hit its hands. The rage built up in its body and he cast a wall of ice around his right side, blocking Onyx from view. He turned his attention back to Callan. While the shaman was concentrating on Onyx, Callan had made several steps closer to the shaman. When the shaman turned back to face him, its face was met with Callan's fist. Callan threw 2 more punches before the shaman kicked out and caused Callan to stumble back and trip to the floor. The shaman strode toward Callan and held up his staff and positioned it above Callan's chest. The staff froze over. At the tip, a sharp, icy spike formed and was ready to be plunged straight into Callan's heart.